Okay, welcome back. This section, we're going to be focusing on reflexology, on the spinal twist, and on dry skin brushing. They're all wonderful components to add in. Again, I know it can seem a little bit overwhelming, but if you get into the habits of sort of doing these when you're able to, it just gets easier and easier to incorporate them in your daily routine as time goes by. So I wanted to start off with reflexology. Foot reflexology is extremely powerful and it feels wonderful. So Dr. Wilson has a great article on his website on foot reflexology. There's also a foot chart in there. So one of the things that we often recommend if you're struggling with something or you've got something that's a little bit sore or you're dealing with something, you can actually go in on the foot chart and have a look at what area on the foot or the toes corresponds with that particular area. It's great to do, you know, both feet, the whole feet. But if you're wanting to hone in on specific areas, for example, some people as they are progressing on their nutritional balancing program, they'll get a bit of liver meridian pain as the liver starts to detoxify. One of the ways to alleviate that, and it's super powerful, is to rub the areas of the liver on each points of the feet. So wonderful to do. And you want to actually be quite vigorous, right? It's not really a light touch. You want to get in there and stimulate those particular points. And what people will find is that areas that, you know, different things that are going on in their body, areas on their feet will be sore in relation to those particular areas. So it's very powerful. If you're doing the program along with a partner, if you're able to do each other's feet, that's wonderful. I mean, professional reflexology is excellent to get, but if you're unable to do that, doing it yourself while you're relaxing, or you and your partner doing each other's feet, children generally love it, and it's an excellent component to add in if you have children on the program. To add that as part of the nightly routine, it can be extremely relaxing. And we were just talking about the pulling down exercise. That is actually another way to actually get energy to pull down in the body, where you're actually focusing on the feet. So I love it for that reason as well. So it can be very healing and an excellent part of the overall program to include. Yeah, and some of my more sensitive clients, as I've been talking about through these different sections, it's actually something that most of them are really able to include and have no issue with. So that's wonderful. Anything to add to that, or move on to spinal twist?
Yeah, I mean, you can get different reflexology tools that will help you a little bit. Sometimes it's hard for people to get down if they're not very flexible and stuff. You can get reflexology foot pads that you can put in your trainers or your shoes when you're walking around, so you're giving yourself some good reflexology. If it's safe to do so, some pebbles outside on your garden tends to be quite good if you just want to like rub your feet in some pebbles. There are some electrical machines that you can get. You're going to be a little bit careful with like EMFs and stuff, but they can be really useful too. Depending on what country you're from, I lived in Thailand for a few months. Super cheap to go and get a reflexology session in there. And I just wanted to just add how amazing they are when you're going through a healing reaction. I was astounded. I was going through a big copper detox. It's not a nice experience. You feel totally ungrounded. And I had an hour-long reflexology session and just felt completely back to earth after that, which was a huge relief when you're going through these sorts of reactions. So don't underestimate the power of reflexology. It's one of them things that people think is a little bit trivial, but it's not trivial. It's super, super beneficial. Can use a little bit of oil, you know, or a little bit of butter, help you out a little bit to get in there. But yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, so, thank you for mentioning about the healing when you're going through a healing reaction, how powerful that is. And one other tool that it's not quite as good because it doesn't get right in there, but also as you're mentioning other things, you can get foot rollers. You know, if you do have difficulty doing it yourself, and that will hit on some points as well. Yeah.
Awesome. In general, what I found is that the human touch is the best. You can get into areas. There's not an electrical machine that's going to do the job of a human touch. Yeah. You know, it can help you out, you know, if you're just doing a bit of work on a computer or whatever. So the next thing that we recommend as part of the program is something called the spinal twist. Now, it's difficult for me to show you on this video or explain, but it's basically an exercise that's used to twist the spine a little bit. In simple terms, you lie down on the floor, you lift one leg up, and the leg goes to the opposite side. And you do that with the other leg, it goes to the opposite side of the body, and it twists the spine. I think Luke Pryor, Luke does a video on YouTube on how to do a spinal twist, which is really, really useful. Obviously, check out Dr. Wilson's article as well. But basically, when people are ill, and especially those in slow oxidation, but most people in general, is that the spine tends to become really solid and hard, and people are just unaware of it. And when the spine becomes hard, what you'll tend to do is you'll tend to get deposits of copper, hard deposits of calcium, and you'll also tend to get pinchers, little pinchers in some of the spinal column, some of the nerve endings that go to the liver, go to the digestive system, etc. So what we want to be doing is we want to keep the spine as loose and as limber as possible, because that does multiple things. It breaks down these deposits that are stuck on the spine, and it also loosens up these nerve endings that are so important. If you know, we all know that everyone's, all of our nerve endings will go through the spinal column at one point. So if the vertebrae is not loose and nimble, these nerve endings can get trapped, and it can cause a lot of problems. Often I've done the spinal twist exercise, and I'll do it, and then my digestive system will kind of suddenly fire up, or I'll get a healing reaction in the liver, and it's like really astounding. In the beginning, as I say, the spine is very solid, so it does take a few months to unwind it, but it gets to a point where, I show my friends, I'm like, watch this, I'll do the exercise, and my whole spine will go click up, and my friend's like, oh, whoa, what are you doing? That's insane. And they're like, my spine doesn't do that, and it's because, I've worked on it every single day. That's just one exercise. Dr. Wilson has a numerous exercise on different twists for the ankles, twists for the neck, twists for the hips, twists for the knees. So if you do have extra time to incorporate them twists, that's really good. The spinal twist exercise literally takes 20 seconds, if that. So it's something that you can really easily slip into the program without too much trouble.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's wonderful. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is dry skin brushing, and I love the dry skin brushing. So one of the aspects of the program, or one of the reasons why I love this so much, is because it feels wonderful, but it also helps decongest the lymphatic system. So we detox a lot through our lymph system. And the dry skin brushing really helps with that. And again, it really only can take a few minutes if you want to incorporate it. I love doing it before the sauna. It stimulates the skin, and I think it just helps open things up. And again, there's lots of videos on how to do this correctly. Generally, the dry skin brushing, you brush towards the heart. So that's a good way to sort of think about doing it, but doing your whole body is wonderful. It's not something that we normally mention on the program, but rebounding, if people use a rebounder, and you've heard about the wonderful effects of using a rebounder, well, that's because it stimulates the lymphatic system. That's fine to do as well in the program. Not something we talk a lot about, but that's fine as well. The dry skin brushing helps with that also. So you want to make sure that you're using a good brush, and making sure that you're keeping that brush clean. But I find just stimulating the skin, stimulating the lymphatic system, just a few minutes a day, or when you can, again, if you can't do it daily, to fit it in your schedule a few times per week. It's part of overall decongesting the body. So a lot of these detox methods that we're talking about, the purpose of a lot of them, even the spinal twist, when you're talking about freeing up the different nerve pathways that lead out from the spine, the coffee enemas, the sauna, dry skin brushing, we're looking at decongesting the body. And so the dry skin brushing really helps with that. And again, it's something that you may not notice after one session. You may notice that you go, wow, okay, I feel a lot better. But done consistently over time, along with the rest of the program, which is really comprehensive, can make a big difference overall to healing.
Yeah, definitely. I also just wanted to mention that what we're talking about is the core parts of the nutritional balancing program, and these are some core procedures that we're talking about. The program is really actually bigger than that. This is the core, and when you're going through Dr. Wilson's articles or speaking to your practitioner, there are actually extra things that you can actually add onto the program that are going to enhance it even more. One example is regular chiropractic work. You know, that would be really good for people to do. You have things like Reiki, you have things like ozone therapy. So speak to your practitioner, read Dr. Wilson's websites. What we're talking about is the key ones, the most important ones really that we find that people need to do consistently for really great results. But in general, there is this extended nutritional balancing program that you can get your teeth into once you've got these core ones down.
Yes, exactly. Great. Okay, so that covers that. And then we will see you on the next section, which is related to lifestyle.